Very cool. Let's rock and roll, baby. Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Fear Factory. They have a new album called Aggression Continuum, which is releasing on June 18th via Nuclear Blast Records. Right now, I'm being joined by Dino to share some more information about this stellar release, as well as a few other things that I've got across my desk here. So, Dino, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on. I totally appreciate you giving me this platform to talk to you.
Absolutely great to have you on. It is an honor, sir. And one of the things that came across my desk is this record comes just in time for the band's 30th anniversary.
Yeah, crazy. A lot of things change.
Yeah. And I had to stop and think that you guys formed a large part of, dare I say, me growing up, because it's been 30 years.
Yeah, it's been it seems like it's been a lot of years, and it has, but just all the things, the ups and downs of these bands, and just everything that we've gone through, band members leaving, people coming back, bankruptcies, lawsuits, divorces, financial distress, all kinds of stuff. It's been very crazy, and it's been a fun ride, actually.
Yeah. Now, I guess my first question then is Aggression Continuum, 30th anniversary, new album. What were you guys looking to do with this record?
Looking to get it out. I mean, it's kind of funny, but we actually started the record back in 2017. We finished it, and because of legal disputes with the trademark name Fear Factory, we couldn't do anything for the past 3.5 years or so. So we were skeptical whether it was going to come out as a Fear Factory record. We thought possibly that it was going to be under a different name. Mm. So, you ask me now, and I'm like, I'm just happy that it's coming out finally. Fast forward to 2020, July 2020, we was able to gain the full trademark rights to the name. And from there, I was like, okay, we needed to do some improvements because the record was kind of sitting there for the past 3 years. And we went in and we ended up doing live drums because initially we had programmed drums. So we had our drummer, Mike Keller, who's been with the band for 9 years, go in and record live drums. It sounds amazing. It added some energy to the record. He added a lot of fills and rolls that was lacking on the album. We also got Andy Sneap to mix the record. He mixed Genexus in 2015. He did such a great job that I really wanted to get him back on the record, and luckily he had some time and he was able to mix it. I also got the producer, Damien Reynaud. He's a French guy from Nice, France, and he's been working with the band since 2011, doing a lot of engineer stuff. He's on the record as a co-producer with us. We've had various different keyboard players. We had a fellow Canadian guy, Reese Fulber. We got him back on the record because the first version he wasn't on it, so I wanted to get at least a couple of songs with him on it, and luckily he had some time and he was able to work on a couple of tracks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm happy now that we can finally get it out after all the shit we went through and get it out for everybody to hear. It'll be out June 18th.
Yes, it will. Now, so many questions. Like one of the notes I had was the production team on it, and Andy Sneap obviously is not a small person to have mix your record. Aside from the sound, I guess he's just great to work with as well, eh?
Very great to work with. He's one of the A-list mixers and producers. As anybody who's in the metal world probably knows his name. Yeah, he did our last record, Genexus, and that was like the first time working with him. And I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, but we seemed to bond really well, and he was able to understand how the band should sound, and he nailed it. So, getting him back on this record, I thought was very important because I wanted kind of some of that Genexus vibe on the tones of this record. I think he actually took it even further, and definitely made the mix really exciting, and the mastering as well. He does mastering too. So he made those elements really exciting, and I think it really helped the record a lot.
Okay. What surprised you most about working with Andy Sneap? Is it something that has been on the mind for a while?
Well, Andy Sneap's a musician, and he used to be in bands, so he really understands, what we're looking for, and you could just tell him what you want, you'll at least what kind of like an idea of what you're looking for, and then he just normally just nails it.
Wow. You mentioned some of the tones on the record. So then did you guys record, or did you record like a lot of DIs and he did reamping in his space?
You would think that, but I did the reamping before I sent it to him. And I said, look, this is the tone I want. He's like, okay, great. So then he just went with that and just beefed it up and sounded killer.
Pulled out a couple of EQs and there you go. Actually, that brings me to a question, because as a guitar player myself, I've got a Fortin Cali through Neural DSP, and on there are some presets, I believe, with your name attached to them.
Correct.
And not that I'm suggesting that's what's on the record, but I'm just kind of curious about that. Is that something they just said, hey, do some presets, or is that something that you actually use quite a bit?
It's stuff that I use like when I do demos and stuff like that. But as far as when I record albums, I use my actual Mike Fortin modified JCM 800 Marshall head.
Okay.
So that's what I use on the records, and that's what I use on this record. I use it to reamp the DIs.
Okay. Very cool. And so that's like, I can't buy it. That's custom completely for you.
That's custom. Yeah. I've made a patch. I think I put it on my Patreon page. But it's called Reindustrialized.
Okay. That makes sense. That goes with the brand there.
That goes with the theme of Fear Factory, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Very cool. Now, something else I heard across the pipeline, speaking of custom, was and maybe I missed the boat on it. Story of my life. But a guitar giveaway. So I was curious. Tell us about your guitar. Tell us about this giveaway.
Okay, well, it's my guitar that I custom made with a company called Ormsby Guitars, which is based out of Perth, Australia. They're coming up some really nice boutique guitars. They mainly specialize in multi-scale guitars. That means like fan frets. They call them multi-scale. So anyways, I met those guys about 3 years ago at one of the NAMM conventions, which is a music convention here in California every winter. And I met those guys like a few years back. And so I was with Ibanez for 22 years. And because of all the legalities that was going on, some of the companies that I was involved with got mixed into the lawsuits. So I decided maybe it's best I made a change. And so I made a change to Ormsby Guitars. And so the guitar is fucking amazing. It's a 25.5 on the bottom. I'm sorry, 26.5 on the higher strings, and then 27.5 on the lower strings. So it's a multi-scale, but it's only a 1-inch multi-scale. Most multi-scales go 2 inches. This was only 1 inch. I didn't want it to be too extreme to where people would get too turned off. So we're doing a giveaway. We thought it was a great idea to give it away and hopefully get more people to log on to Spotify or Deezer or Tidal or any of those places where you could like pre-save or pre-add the album. Correct. We're also giving away my pickups from Seymour Duncan. It's called the Machete, which means machete in Spanish, because it cuts through. And so we're giving away those pickups as well. We're also doing a Protone pedal. I have a signature pedal overdrive with a company called Protone Pedals. We're also going to be doing a giveaway on that as well.
Okay. Protone Pedals overdrive. So I'm speculating then you're using that to boost into the Fortin JCM 800.
That's what I did on this new record, yes.
Okay. And we're hearing the Machete pickups on the record. And are we also hearing the new guitar as well on the record?
Well, it's not a new guitar. It's actually, it's a new guitar for some people, yeah, but I've had the guitar for a while now.
Okay.
A couple years.
Right. So they just walked up to you at NAMM and they said, "Here you go," and you said, "Great timing," and just
No. This was like custom made in their custom shop.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long scale neck, because what a Les Paul is like, what, 24 3/4, and a Fender's like 25 1/4 or something.
Yeah, most Ibanez's are 25 and a half. And then when I released my Ibanez Signature Series, at the time it was 25 and a half. But this one is 26 and a half on the high and 27 and a half on the low. And that's great for low tunings because it adds more tension on the lower strings.
Yeah. Do you find you get a better tone? It's easier to pick. Take us through.
I noticed that the longer the scale is, the better that the strings resonate.
Okay. All right.
Not that you can't get a good resonations off a shorter scale, but I just noticed for the tunings, for the low tunings and the tension, that it resonates really well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what tuning are you at?
On this record, it's A standard, also with the 8 string as well. So it's the F sharp standard.
Okay. Beautiful. I'm taking a look at the overdrive right now. Do you know what it's based off of? Like, how do you create an overdrive pedal?
Well, first of all, you want to get that tone shape, right? If you look at the pedal on the top part, it says a tone, and that's kind of like the mid scoop. That's kind of like what you want to try to control some of the low end on your amps. Like for instance, the Mesa Boogie has a very flubby low end, and so that really helps tone shape that low end and tighten it up. Also, there's a low end, there's a bass knob there too. So in case you want to really tighten up that low end, you really want to scoop some of those mids, you can actually add some low end back.
Okay.
If you want it. Then of course the drive and then the level, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I usually keep the live about 1 or 2. I usually keep the bass up the middle. The tone I usually have it about, wait a minute, I guess 12, 1 or 2. Yeah, so about 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then the level I usually have it halfway as well.
Okay.
I mean, everybody can set it up differently, however they want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the gearheads listening in / watching right now, and I mean, I'm even my own kind of gearhead, and so when we start getting into overdrives, it's probably one of the most useful yet unsexy, I guess, to the outside world pedals that you can get, because you can do so much with them.
Yeah, I have I don't know how many different overdrive pedals. I have a lot of different ones. Yeah, so it's one of the ones that you always, the one I always want to try. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I also like EQ pedals and, of course, noise gate pedals as well. I do have some older pedals that I use for some effects and some old records. I used an old Ibanez rotary chorus pedal. Yeah. And then I've got some old school bunch of old school Boss pedals.
Can't go wrong with those usually.
No, can't go wrong at all. Mm-hmm. But there was something about the Ibanez rotary chorus. I use that all over Obsolete and Digimortal. I use that pedal because it has this really cool chorus, but it's got like this grittiness to it that adds some texture to the tone.
Right.
Because sometimes when you put chorus on, it really kind of smooths out your guitar tone, right?
Yeah.
Like it smooths out the top end a little bit, right? But I like this rotary chorus because it still kept some of the grit in there that I liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and something else I kind of figured in hearing your tone over the years is either it's not as much gain as I think, or there's definitely a noise gate on there, or a mixture of the two.
A mixture of the two. I usually try to find that sweet spot as far as the gain, because you still want to have some of that clarity in there. Mm-hmm. And that's just for the way I play. I mean, everybody can do it however they please, but for me, I've always liked for you to hear the note that I'm changing to.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. So we chatted about some Seymour Duncan pickups, some Fortin JCM 800 amps. This is the gear show all of a sudden. Ormsby Guitars, which is fantastic. And then, of course, we have the Protone pedal, which obviously we're finding out has shown up on the new record, which is incredible tone-wise. Now, I guess Aggression Continuum. What is this record about? Does it have a theme?
Definitely has a theme. It has a little Easter eggs here and there. We could go start with the cover. The album cover is an automaton shaped in a FF with its legs open, I guess you could say. The FF is obviously, we always try to put some sort of a form of a logo on the album cover, right? Because that's the brand. But on the bottom right FF, you see a little serial number. I don't know if you could zoom in on that. But there's a little serial number there.
I'm zooming.
And it says FF 103190. That is the birth of the machine.
Okay.
That's when the band started. Okay. Now the automaton represents an X. So it's like an F and an X. And the X is a Roman numeral 10. This is our 10th studio record. Now, Aggression Continuum is pretty much describing the record, what its tone, what it sounds like, the aggressive parts, the pissed offness that's in there in the lyrics.
What's there
the
to
Continuum, be and the Continuum is definitely just saying it's going to continue.
Yeah, and so I've got here that Francesco Artusato did the artwork. So basically, did he come back with that, or did you very specifically let him know what you were looking for?
Well, I told him that we were looking for an automaton kind of in the shape of an X with an FF, blah, blah. I explained all that, and he's like, it took him like a couple of tries, and boom, that's what he came out with.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a super detailed, three-dimensional, 3D guy, you know what I mean? He comes out with, we have a video where it actually shows it all the way around. It's really cool. Maybe you'll get to see it. I don't know.
Maybe. I know I've seen the video for Disruptor, and I'm excited to see future videos. Is with this video Disruptor, does that mean that there's going to be like a series of videos that follow along this theme?
Yes, not for this one that's coming out tomorrow. We have a song called Feel Injected Suicide that's coming out tomorrow. It'll be available on Spotify and iTunes and everywhere else. That one won't have a video only because it takes a while to make these videos. And we weren't going to have it done in time. So we have the sequel coming out for the third single, which comes out just before the record. So there you'll get to see the sequel to the first video.
Okay.
You got to realize there's some CGI in there. That's what takes a long time.
Yeah. And I imagine COVID protocols don't help either.
Well, the videos were filmed in Finland, and Finland was pretty good. They didn't really have too much of a huge COVID cases out there. So they were able to go out there and film this video, without wearing masks and stuff.
Okay. Speaking of Australia, I was going to say that's your next bet.
Australia?
Yeah, they're pretty.
What do you mean?
They're open.
Oh yeah,
Australia.
Oh yeah. They've been very diligent about how they handle the pandemic. They didn't let anybody in for a while. People couldn't even go into the country.
No, don't even need a mask for a walkabout.
Well, I don't know if you know, but the CDC just changed its guidelines. If you're vaccinated, you can walk around, you can go anywhere without a mask now.
Ah, I didn't know that.
They just announced it maybe a couple hours ago.
Oh, cool. You must get notifications
Or
on your phone.
I found out a couple hours ago.
Should probably go pay attention to the CDC a little more often.
So I'm vaccinated, so I don't got to worry about it.
That's right. Very cool. I am on the list to get vaccinated. So,
well, hopefully you'll get it sooner than later.
That's right. Beautiful. Is there anything else about the record that you're dying to let people know, Dino?
Yes, there's a lot of stuff. The record as it goes along it's pretty much a concept record where we've always had the relationship between human and AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on this record in particular, the AI thinks it's human because they've been extracting memories and your soul from humans and implanting them or downloading them into an AI. So that way the AI, because it has memories, it thinks it's human. Right. And so that's pretty much the whole theme of the whole record. But of course, the AI and humans don't always get along. Sometimes they're together, sometimes they're battling, sometimes they're progressing together. But in this situation, the AI is pretty much, it just thinks it's human. And it's kind of like crying out, telling you, hey, I'm human. Because there is dialogue between a man and machine where the man is basically saying, you're not human. You were made to afflict death. And the machine is confused. He can't understand it. He goes, no, I'm human. Right. He goes, no, man, you're just autonomous combat system. Or you're just an automaton to kill. You're made to kill. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it thinks it's human, so it doesn't believe what the man is telling him. And Disruptor video, it's basically Disruptor is anything that disrupts something. So we've had these individuals that are trying to just hack into the mainframe to disrupt this signal, because the signal between the mothership and the drones that are trying to capture them, so they could take them back up to the ship and they can extract their memories and put them into AIs. So that's what they're doing on that song. Towards the end of the record is a song called End of Line. End of Line kind of means that's it. It's over. And, I can't believe that it's over, but it's over. But it's not over, because after that, towards the outro, it goes into the fears, the mind killer speech from the movie Dune. Mm-hmm. And that is where it says, when the fear is gone, only I remain. And that's pretty much what I'm saying. When all this is said and done, only I am the last guy remaining, and I will not fear where the future takes me.
That's right. Okay. Do you guys, do you read a lot of sci-fi?
What do you think?
I think yes. I think somewhere over there's a giant bookshelf of sci-fi literature, maybe on a Kindle. Do people still do Kindles, or did I just date myself? There it is. Well, fan-freaking-tastic.
That a lot of YouTube videos, that we've there's a guy named Ray Kurzweil. You might have heard of him. He invented the keyboard, the Kurzweil keyboard, a long time ago. Yeah. He's a futurist, and he's always talking about where the future is taking us, about nanotechnology and the singularity effect and all that stuff. And yeah, I've been into sci-fi since I was a kid. Watching all the sci-fi movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, even the Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's one episode, it's called Obsolete Man, right? And being a fan of that stuff, and of course, Dune, Terminator, Mad Max, all those movies, and Blade Runner, being really influenced by that, and just but we kind of more developed it also into where we are today, being socially aware of the things that are becoming obsolete, and how technology advances every day, and how much better how much worse we're getting as far as being addicted to it.
Yeah.
And how it becomes, how it is become our day-to-day lives, and that, nowadays we can't live without it. I mean, people freak out. They lose their phone for 5 minutes. They freak out.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
it's the world became a smaller place, when we started to, get cell phones and everything got everything started to change. Became a smaller place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yet so far apart. Just imagining a family.
Look, I get to talk to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I get to see you there in your own room, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, in one way, it's absolutely incredible, and then I guess it depends on how you use it.
Correct, but obviously, man, we're going to use it in the most negative way. I mean, social media is pretty damaging. I mean, some people can't handle it. Some people kill themselves because they get ridiculed online, or they go into a depression, or they need the attention all the time.
Yeah.
So, in some ways, it's really affecting us in many negative ways.
Yeah. I heard a quote recently that I agree with, which is, social media has done what we were always told video games were supposed to do to us.
So you're saying video games, that influence us to go out there and kill people?
Yeah, a bit of that. Creating all sorts of
well, there's so much hate, there's so much false information. Yeah. People are believing the most stupidest things. Yeah, it's been totally negative. I mean, the insurrection on the Capitol, it really influenced that. Social media, people are able to form some sort of militias and groups and hate groups, and communicate that way. You could fucking become an ISIS through social media if you want to be part of that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's a lot of negatives and there's a lot of positives, right? But those are the things that we've been singing about for a long time, how certain things are becoming obsolete and other things are taking over.
Mm-hmm.
AI has been a huge, huge part of our day-to-day lives that we become too dependent on it, addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether it be porn or whether it be just talking to loved ones,
Well, I immediately thought of the artificial intelligence sex robot that, brings so many people so much comfort. Because
it's going to be the two main things would be how we advance in that way, and robotics would definitely be military and then sex.
There's humanity in a nutshell, do you know?
There you go.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Dino, my questions have concluded. We did a massive chat on the record. We did a massive chat on music videos. We did a massive chat on the production team gear. We did a whole thing on gear. Yeah. Boom. Thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you giving me this time.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to go pick up anything for Fear Factory, go to fearfactory.com. There you will find everything: vinyl, cassettes, CDs, merchandise, tour dates, information. So log on to fearfactory.com.